Amid growing fears of a potential war with Iran, Israel is preparing an emergency plan to evacuate foreign tourists, according to the Times of Israel. The Israeli Tourism Ministry has drawn up protocols to assist an estimated 42,000 tourists currently in the country. The evacuation plan would be activated if Israel is forced to close its airspace due to a conflict with Iran. It includes provisions for contacting foreign visitors and organizing alternative evacuation routes through land border crossings. According to Channel 12, the Israeli Tourism Ministry stated that it is ready to act immediately should the need arise. On January 25, Israeli Airlines announced they would ease ticket cancellation terms for passengers amid the rising regional uncertainty. Several international carriers have also suspended flights to and from the Middle East due to heightened tensions. These airlines include Lufthansa, Air France, KLM, and Swiss Airlines according to available flight data. Israel remains on high alert as the United States and Iran continue to exchange threats of military action. The United States has increased its military presence across the Middle East in recent days. On January 26, the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group entered the U.S. Central Command's area of responsibility. According to reports, Washington is also considering a naval blockade aimed at cutting off Iran's oil exports. In response, Iran has deployed Fateh and Ghadir attack submarines to strengthen its naval presence. These deployments are concentrated in the Persian Gulf region, particularly around the Strait of Hormuz, according to defense reports.
The arrival of a certain warship is not going to shake Iran's will or determination to defend the country with full force. We have both the will and the full capability to defend Iran, backed by our people and by the experience we have built up over the past decades. Therefore, the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran will carefully keep an eye on every movement and every development, and at the same time they do not let a single second go by without working to build up their capabilities in order to safeguard Iran's national sovereignty, national dignity, and national security. I should also point out that sending forces into our region and making threats runs against all international principles and foundations. Unfortunately, we know that the American side does not pay much heed to these principles. Yet these are the same principles that protect the entire international community and regional security. If they are trampled on, the resulting insecurity will certainly affect everyone. That is why neighboring countries in the region, and even countries outside the region that truly value international peace and security, not just in words, are trying to make sure that no party falls into a miscalculation. The U.S. approach to the issue of human rights is completely hypocritical and deceptive. I do not even need to say this, as you can see it all over the world. The law-breaking that the United States carries out in different ways is plain to see. One so-called advantage of the current U.S. administration is its blunt honesty. The U.S. government does not hide the fact that its attacks and threats against other countries are about oil and about looting their resources. They say it outright and very quickly. In the past, they used to cover this up behind nice-sounding words. Mr. Grossi must definitely address the parties that are responsible for creating the situation. Repeating the same claims about Iran over and over does not, in my view, lead anywhere. As a member of the agency, we are in ongoing contact with IAEA officials, and we also stay in touch with the agency through our mission in Vienna. It had been agreed, and a request had been made, for him to meet the Honorable Foreign Minister on the sidelines of the Davos meeting. We have never shied away from listening to what the other side has to say. Of course, the technical discussions related to cooperation between Iran and the agency fall under the responsibility of the Atomic Energy Organization. But as far as having a dialogue was concerned, we had no problem with that. However, as you saw, this diplomatic opportunity was also lost due to obstruction by the Western side, and specifically by the host, which is said to have been under pressure from some American warmongering circles in the Zionist regime. This has raised a question in the minds of domestic, regional, and international public opinion about how the organizers of the World Economic Forum came under the influence of warmongering parties that basically have no belief in engagement or dialogue. Nearly half of the members of the Human Rights Council, meaning 22 members, either voted against, abstained, or did not take part in the vote at all. I think this sent an important message. I want to take this opportunity to thank the countries that responsibly recognized the reality, did not remain indifferent, and voted against this resolution. I also thank those parties that chose to abstain, and in doing so showed their lack of alignment with the politicized approach of Western countries. Of course, from some of these countries, we at least expected a negative vote. But in any case, the fact that they did not go along with the double standards of a few Western countries and did not allow their votes to be seized upon for a hostile move against the Iranian nation is something that deserves appreciation.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.